Hello and welcome to the Deep 3 podcast. This is your host, Matt. I'm back, baby.
Yay!
Matt is back. All right.
Okay, and this is where we kick him out of this mess.
That's fine.
Also,
Don't disrespect the Backstreet Boys, all right? You may fuck off. Anyway, we got basketball and it's wonderful. Kevin, let's start with you. How have you been, buddy?
it's been great to watch all this basketball and all this roasting that's been going on. I'm loving the Dame Paul George beef.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were going to Arby's this early, but I like it.
Ew. Fucking gross.
No, it's good. Glad to have basketball back, and now we got playoffs coming up, and I'm excited.
Sounds good. Hey Sam, on a scale of 1 to 10, how psyched are you that the Suns didn't make the playoffs? Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry, my bad. I didn't mean the Suns. I meant the Spurs. That's on me. That's on me.
Yeah, we'll get later about your sons. All right, your bright future sons. We'll get to that later. But
Yeah, the 8-0, right. Oh, okay, I'll keep that one in mind. Hey, how are your Spurs doing, buddy?
look, no Aldridge, and we proved the world wrong. Everyone was like, okay, along with the Sun, they're like, these guys are trash. Throw them out of here. We almost made it. We were a half game behind. Honestly, if we didn't lose to Philly on that dumb Shake Milton 3 because he's absolute garbage chicken shit, we would have been in this, all right? I ain't mad, but I'm pissed.
No, right, yeah, absolutely, as you should be. It was an insane run. Anyway, I have a question for both of you. So I have been out of the basketball world for quite a bit. I'm just gonna take a wild guess. First game, Bucks versus the Magic. The Bucks killed them, right?
Kevin, I'll defer to you on this one.
Yeah. So, you see, they definitely weren't trying. Magic might have taken it earlier today. It was a 1:30 game because no one expected it to be anything. And then it was within 3 points, I think, at the end.
12 points, sir.
Yeah, 12
12?
points.
Yes, sir.
I'm a go.
I mean, let's just take a step back and actually just like look at the game for a second. I mean, look at Vucevic's numbers. He fucking killed it. He literally shoved his giant penis inside. Oh, never mind. He killed it, man. He had an insane game. That guy is one hell of a player, just proving to that Magic organization how important he is to that team. Because, my God, double, baby.
They didn't even have Aaron Gordon, too, and I think they probably would have lost if they had him anyway.
Yeah, man. When you got an ugly mug like that, you're going to lose. I promise you. All right?
That's fine. No, that's fine. I get it. That's cool. I mean, hey, Magic's doing better than the Spurs. Anyway, Sam, why don't I defer this to you? Why don't you hit us up with the updates?
Okay. Before that, you thought I was just going to take that insult. Let me know how your boy Gordon Hayward's doing, all right? Then we start talking. Then we start talking.
Cool.
Right? That's all I got to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is getting hot in here. I think we got...
You do not make fun of a person
That's
in general who got hurt. You're going to rot in basketball hell for that, sir.
Hey, man, get some icy hot. I'll get Shaq to send you some, all right?
Thanks, I appreciate it.
But what's some NBA updates? Matt wasn't here when Kevin and I introduced basketball, so Matt, welcome to the basketball world. It's been for you as well. So yeah, what's up? On some possible good news for next season, it looks like there may not be fans. It's probably a good chance that there won't be fans at all. Understandable reason, but it's awesome that the NBA is already starting to plan for next season, and they want to develop regional bubbles. So my guess is they might just do it by division. So like a Southwest region where the Spurs are, like a Pacific region, Atlantic, kind of stuff like that. Kevin, how are we feeling about this? Do you think this is jumping way too ahead, or do you think this is some solid planning from the NBA?
No, I think it's good planning to look that far ahead, especially with the weird season schedule. Like, there's probably going to be a shorter offseason this year, but it's still probably so we have to start thinking about the future now. But I'm interested to see how they do that, because like, what do you do about out of conference games? You know what I mean? Like, if the Lakers are playing the Knicks, do they leave one of their bubbles, or do they just schedule all in conference games? I don't know. I'm interested to see what the plan comes out to be. But I'm glad they're taking steps now to talk about it and to be like, hey, we got to start thinking about this now before this season's over, so that we can have a plan and we can actually have basketball from the start of the season next time.
No, exactly. And I think we can all agree in this podcast that the NBA has done something phenomenal just from a strategy standpoint of how to implement something in a pandemic situation. Let's look at baseball, for example. Look at baseball. Baseball's an absolute shit show of what they're doing. Rob Manfred should be a lot of bad words I won't say on this podcast because that guy's an absolute idiot just to begin with. And I'll be really interesting to see how football goes about it, because I know like baseball and football, just roster wise, it's going to be hard to maintain all these players. Like, and it'll be good that like, yeah, they have backup just in case, but in terms of quality of football, like if your star like quarterback or receiver is out, like that's really detrimental to the team, because like, they're going to be out for practice as well. But Matt, what are your thoughts on the regional concept?
I like it. I think the best thing that you're going to get out of it is essentially expanding your conferences and then having these teams play in conference, because it's going to be extremely difficult to have, like Kevin said, to have people going from like LA all the way to New York and whatnot, or vice versa. Not a single team should be playing in Florida or Arizona. I'm sorry, Bright Future Suns, but you're not allowed to play there anymore because that place is a shit show. Like Kevin said, I'm very interested to see how it works out. So far, the NBA has been doing a fantastic job of all of this stuff. If I was a betting man, I would put so much money on the NFL fucking this up horribly. It's just like, I'm sorry, but that much contact and whatnot, and like not only that, but when you're doing like short spurts, like high intensity, it's essentially HIIT training is what they're doing, high intensity cardio, and they have to wear it like a face mask, kind of like that's what they were talking about. They're barely going to be able to breathe. Like, no, the NFL. I would be shocked if the NFL succeeded in this whole entire thing. But anyway, I'm really glad that they're working something out. They're being really proactive about how they're running everything. Adam Silver has been killing it. He's been doing such a great job. I'm excited. I can't wait. And I mean, so far they've been doing fantastic with the bubble. Obviously, with regional bubbles, it's going to be very different, but hopefully it works out.
For sure. I mean, let's be honest. Like, come November, like the person I'm putting on my ballot is Adam Silver. All right, that guy's actually making some real change moving forward for all of us.
Hell yeah.
And before we get into the playoff discussion, let's get some just recap of what happened in the bubble. And I think the obvious thing, just based on the title, 1-2-3 Cancun, Damian Lillard versus the world. Boys, I don't know if you guys recall what went down, but Portland versus LA Clippers. Damian Lillard misses 2 clutch free throws that cost Portland the game and almost cost them the seed. Luckily, they did make the 8th seed, which we'll get into later. But there were some interesting things happening on the sideline during the missed free throws. You see some Markieff or Marcus Morris, one of the Morrises. Either way, they're both trash because they're bench warmers at this point. Laughing with Pat Bev as well. And then the beef started back on Twitter or Instagram or whatever. Pat Bev kind of making some laughing emojis, Cancun on 3, and then PG replying, and you getting sent home this year, respect. And then Dame not handling any of this, calling out Paul George, keep switching teams, homie, running from the grind. You boys is chumps. Matt, what are we feeling here? What is it? We liking this?
I have newfound respect for Damian Lillard. He can say whatever the fuck he wants to when he's got multiple 60-point games. I don't give a fuck what they say. What has Paul George done in the past year? Look, I mean, yeah, not only Paul George, but Patrick Beverley can go fuck himself. I don't. He's trash. I don't give a damn. Anyway, dude, Damian Lillard is not only one of the most loyal players that I've seen in a long time. Like, I mean, we look at Steph Curry. I mean, hell, even CJ. You know, like he's just as reliable, or yeah, I guess just as reliable on Portland as like Steph Curry is on Golden State. Like they're extremely respectable. He's an extremely respectable player, and I'm all for the hype. I'm only going to respect him more the more he shits on them. I will like have every single tweet that he sends out. I'll have it on notifications. I'll be in work and I'll get a notification. I'll be like, just 1 second, this is important. Yeah, okay, good, we're good. I'm actually pretty excited to see how Portland does in the playoffs. Like I would like I've always liked them as an underdog team. Obviously, I've had my beef earlier in the year with comparing clutchness and whatnot, and obviously him missing those 2 shots is not clutch, but he fucking killed it, man. Multiple games with 60 points. Are you kidding me? Like, go off, Dame, man. You go on your soapbox, dude. It's all you. Have fun.
Exactly. And with the man that has Damian Lillard in the background, are we getting Kobe vibes from him?
I honestly get much more Jordan vibes in the sense of like what we saw in The Last Dance. Like as soon as you put that chip on his shoulder, there's nothing that's gonna stand in his way of proving you wrong. There is nothing that he can't do to show you that you fucked up in saying something bad about him. Like,
just to be clear, we're talking about personality traits, right?
I would think so. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to double check that.
Obviously not like a Jordan play style. Like he shoots deep threes and gets fouls on threes because he kind of plays smart. Let's call it. But the man just found a switch inside himself after missing the 2 clutch free throws against the Clippers, then went on to get 51 points, 61 points, and 42 points in the next 3 games.
Yeah, that's nuts.
And all while shooting incredible 3-point percentage, incredible field goal percentage. He never shot under 53% after that game from the field, and he shot 57% against Brooklyn from the 3.
That's just rude.
I mean, he was killing it after that, and he just had to have that little bit of motivation for him to get angry, which is a very, very Jordan-esque thing to see. I think he's definitely got the work ethic of Kobe, but I think the thing I see most in him is that Jordan fire that not many people have.
Gotcha. So the reason I bring up Kobe, because this thing kind of reminds me of Kobe in terms, you guys may not remember this, but there was a player for the Suns named Roger Bell, part of like that really key D'Antoni Suns team. But he was in charge of guarding Kobe one night. And I guess he was just playing overly aggressive because it's Kobe, right? When you guard Kobe, you make sure you're on his ass, right? That was the whole thing, because Kobe's going to do whatever he wants at that point. And I guess it was getting a little chippy. And I believe Kobe at the end of the game said, yeah, the kid emphasized the kid just doesn't understand. And then the next game in the playoffs, he got hit Roger Bell's head so quickly that I believe Kobe dropped like back-to-back 40s on him instantly, and that was serious at that point. So that was the feeling I was getting when it comes to Dame. Is just like don't say anything about me. Don't say anything about my name. The guy's from Oakland, all right? I don't know if you guys like people from Oakland, but like it's different out there. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but like they grow up a little bit rougher, and that's just the kind of attitude they come with. And I really respect it in terms of the game, because Curry's the nice guy. He should be back in Charlotte. Let's be real. Dame needs to be in GSW repping his town. All right, let's be real. All right, enough of that drama. Let's be real. Okay, enough of that drama. I'm loving it. I hope there's more beef moving forward, especially with the Lakers matchup, which we'll talk about later. On some sad news, my boy, not my boy, but Ben Simmons out probably 6 to 8 weeks since last week, so probably like 7 weeks now. He had a really gross knee injury. I don't know if you guys saw, but it was like it like bent like inward when he was coming down.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I heard it was an MCL sprain, but I actually think it's a tear from what I was reading on other articles. Um, they're saying he could come back, but I don't know if you guys remember Andrew Bynum. He played for the Lakers and in his career in Philly, but that dude had a really gross similar injury, and that guy did not come back. But let's be real. What are we feeling about this Philly team? They did have a very interesting game against the Celtics. It was very close. But, obviously when you're missing a possible key factor like Ben Simmons, I know he's not a shooter, but from a playmaking standpoint, I think we can give him some props just for being like 20 years old and still balling out. Like, he could be like an all-star superstar. What are our expectations for this Philly team without Ben Simmons? We'll start with Kevin here.
I think it was an already shaky Philly team. I think they were pretty underwhelming in terms of what at least we thought they were going to do. I think we all, to some extent, thought the big lineup was going to work well, it was going to mesh well, and it just didn't ever get its footing that well. Like they had a good season. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't what a lot of people thought and what they, I'm sure, wanted after making trades and paying big money and stuff like that. And without Simmons now, who is their guy they've been wanting to get up to full potential for a while now, I don't know. I think it's going to make a shaky team even shakier, and I think this first round is going to be really telling. If they can get past this first round, then I will eat my words, and I can say that I'm wrong, but I think it's going to be a very hard first round for them.
Look, you say everything wrong. All right, let's just make that very clear just from the get-go. Remember Paul George said how disappointing he will be for the Clippers at the beginning of the season. I mean, well, we'll see. I guess we'll see. But Matt, I guess in terms of, I don't know if you watched the Celtics and Philly game yesterday. Your boy Gordy, he did get hurt. Just want to emphasize that again, just to put rub some salt in the.
Let's not leave my boy alone. He's already been through enough.
Gordy, stick to Halo, all right?
Stop it.
But in terms of this series, what do you think for Philly? Like, is there a strong chance that they can do it? Because for the most part, they were down 10, they came back, they took the lead, and then they lost it again. I guess in terms of from a Philly standpoint, do you think, even though you're a Celtics fan, do you have confidence that Philly will be at least a challenge for the Celtics roster?
Yeah. The biggest reason is because Kevin briefly touched on it. I actually kind of disagree. I actually am thinking the opposite of what Kevin was saying. I actually think they'll do better. And it's not necessarily because Ben Simmons is a bad player, because he's not. Obviously he doesn't shoot the ball, which is detrimental to any basketball team. But, like, we have seen time and time again that the Ben Simmons and the Embiid project does not work. They do not mix well together. Whether it's personality reasons, but mainly just that play style. You're sending Ben Simmons to do something that honestly he really shouldn't be doing. He should not be a guard. He should be a forward. He should not be playing that. Don't get me wrong. He's got talent. He's got skill, and he can duke people out. No problem. But that's not his position. So when you don't have Ben Simmons in the mix, you see the Philadelphia 76ers start to play a little bit better because now they're actually playing in motion. They're playing with a groove. I would be saying the exact same thing if Embiid was injured, sick, or whatever he normally is. I'm not a fan of obviously I'm not a fan of the roster in general. You know, they've had like yes, their season wasn't bad, but in my honest opinion, their season was a train wreck of what they were supposed to do because they were supposed to be a shoo-in for the finals, or at least the competing for the finals. But now it's just like maybe they'll make it past the first round.
Yeah.
Like the Celtics team is very, very good and very well rounded. Yeah, Gordon Hayward's injured, but like we've seen that story before. We've seen the Celtics play without Gordon Hayward before. They're going to be fine. They've been fine without him before. So I'm not worried about the Celtics. I think the 76ers will do better just play style wise, but I would be very surprised if they made it past that first round.
For sure. And I think one of the biggest disappointments in my opinion was I think that immediate like Al Horford downgrade, like compared to his Celtics run. Like he was just immediately like garbage. And even like this past playoff game, like it was like 6 points. Like I'm just like Al Horford's presence was no longer intimidating, at least. Maybe it's just the team. Maybe that's the bigger issue at hand. Um, and I think going along your lines with this roster, the biggest thing they lost this offseason was Jimmy Butler. Let's be honest. There's no fire on this team in terms of like someone needs to get in your face and be like, Joel Embiid, what are you doing? You're doing absolute trash. I don't want like no baby Tobias Harris. I don't want Tobias Harris being leading in my stats. I'm just being real. I don't want Tobias Harris leading in any stats of mine. I want him to be more of a support player at this point. Joel Embiid really needs to take over, and he has no sense of leadership on this team. I said it.
Yeah, I think to go off of that though, he did score the most points in that game, and he did get a double. So it's not like he's not doing anything, but I get what you're saying. He should not be the leader at all.
Yeah, but I think like you were saying before, all of our predictions were okay. These guys are going to be at least like a 1-2 seed in the East, and they completely fell apart. I don't know if it's just a chemistry thing or just a lot of drama from upper management with coaching and all that, but I think we can almost say that the Hinkie project actually failed us in the end. Like maybe it's like tanking this much really just makes us sadder because the expectations are just so high that they'll never live up to it. So, But I think for this next segment, I think we should just kind of just wrap up the bubble and just show the good, the bad, the ugly of it. And well, I think we should start off with your bright and future Suns. Probably I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, were they the only team to go 8-0? I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
The only team to go 8-0, which is phenomenal for a team that doesn't make it. But and I was telling Kevin about this earlier about you know how ESPN shows like, oh, the race for the 8th seed, and they have every team, and then the Suns, they put like a little hyphen saying, oh yeah, the Suns are the 13th seed, like they probably won't make it. Matt, how did you feel? The utter disrespect there. How did you feel about that?
All I have to say is somehow the Magic is in the playoffs and the Phoenix Suns aren't. So if that doesn't strike you as shocking, then you need to go back and watch basketball some more. It makes no sense to me. Like they were on fire, 8-0. Like they were killing it. You have some of the best players on that team. Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton was on fire. He was killing it. Ricky Rubio, love that guy so much. They were looking great. They went 8-0, and you just kind of just like disrespect them like that. You're gonna put the Magic in the playoffs? The Magic over the Suns? I don't get it. I wanna talk to whoever organized this bullshit because they need to get their shit straight.
Yeah, I mean, won't be surprised if Matt's on that narc line in Disney World, be like, "Hey, the Orlando Magic all testing positive right now. Can we get a new team in?"
The Markelle Fultz. Pretty sure I saw him coughing a lot.
But yeah, honestly, I think I could say for all of us, I think it was like as much as they're a fun team, they were still like a big shot just in overall performance. Like they beat some really good teams. I mean, he made the game winner of Paul George, and Paul George is probably one of the best defensive players in the NBA at this point. Like, It was just fun. It was like the first time it was the first time since the Steve Nash era that the Suns were really fun to watch, just in
Yeah,
terms of
that's
just like
super
youthfulness at
sad.
this point. Um,
Yeah.
but on a sadder note, my my boys, the era is over. 22 straight years, the San Antonio Spurs, not in the playoffs. And to be honest, I'm okay. I think it would actually it would be much worse if we were in the 8 seed race and then immediately lost it by the one game. I would have been really upset then. But for me, I think if we were in the same bubble as the Suns, or like everyone's like, okay, Aldridge isn't showing up. DeMar can't carry any team to the playoffs, so at this point, just get him out of here. But it was actually really enjoying watching them, just because it was the most like carefree basketball I've seen with the Spurs team. Just a great balance of like youth plus DeMar plus Rudy Gay. Everyone was just in sync. Another boy
Rudy
band
Gay.
one, yeah,
No.
yeah. Rudy Gay was just killing it for just the amount of vet years that he has under his belt. Like it just felt good watching the team play, and just like even better the amount of potential that the Spurs roster has. And I know people. I think Pop was making a joke at like one of his press conferences, saying like, "Oh, what streak ended? Like I don't know what we're talking about here." And then the reporter was like confused because he didn't know if he was joking or not, and he was just like your 22-year streak." And he was like, "Oh, that one? Yeah, it's like it's not like a big deal. So it's like it's just another year at this point. I get to go home early, so."
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, sad era, but maybe it's for good thing. We're in the lottery now. All right, we're in the lottery. We're going to get a good pick. We're getting LaMelo Ball. Everything's good. Everything's good. Um, and I think even more interesting was the last game between Memphis and Portland, battle of the 8 seed. I like to give a quick shout out. I think the Memphis Grizzlies had an overall great season. They did lose Triple J for the last few games, and that really did tank them pretty hard. I mean, let's be real. When Giannis got suspended for the Bucks, they basically gave him a handout for the Memphis Grizzlies to win that game.
Yeah.
And even then, like out of the whole bubble, I feel like that was one of the most intense, like an interesting game, just because like both sides were just competing like nonstop. And in the end, didn't matter. Damian Lillard came out, killed it. And even better, I think my boy, the man of the podcast, CJ McCollum, fractured back and scoring like 10 of his like almost like 29 points in the fourth quarter. Killed it. The guy was clutch and it was just phenomenal. It was just a great time watching them play. So I have to ask the man with Damian Lillard in the background, do we put some fucking respect on Damian Lillard's name?
you can't. You can't not. Like you got to. You got to respect the man. The man. Like he's proven time and time again that he can carry the team, he can lead a team, just will them into the playoffs like he just did basically. And him and CJ are one of the I want to phrase this correctly. I don't know if they're the best duo of the era or anything like that, but they're one of the most respectable duos uh, of anyone in basketball right now, for sure. Like you can't. No team should go into playing Portland from now on thinking that they're ever going to win because they can pull out a win anytime.
It's true.
No, for sure. Matt, do you think that just with how this season is going so far for Damian Lillard, do we think that this guy could be MVP caliber in the next few years?
Um. Yeah, I mean it's hard to argue against that just because again, three incredible scoring games. It's just when we talk about the MVP, I mean, yeah, he has potential. He absolutely has the potential to be MVP. It's just when you're going against people like Giannis and LeBron and Anthony Davis and so on and so on and so forth. It's just like you're gonna have to carry your team even harder. Like you're talking about CJ McCollum having a broken back, fucking Damian Lillard's gonna have a broken back carrying his team. Um, they got to get some more help on that team just to get some progress, to get some better progress. But yeah, I would say he has potential. He definitely has potential. I mean, he's really fucking good. He's a very good player. But I would be very interested to see how other players stack up in that MVP conversation. I mean, Luka, for example. I mean, second year playing and he was already in the MVP conversation. Like for all we know, it might be Damian Lillard's time. Like his time might have already passed for that specific award. But who knows? We'll see.
Damian Lillard, you're no longer welcome to this podcast, according to Postmaster Murphy. Well, Dame, in the Bubbles books, you did win your MVP, all right, sir. Very tough race between Luka, D Books, my boy TJ Warren, which I talked too much about on the last podcast. James Harden, even Giannis. Like it was just good basketball overall from all these guys. But I heard Damian Lillard made comments saying that like if Devin Booker got the MVP, that'd be fine as long as I get my playoff spot. So like we knew what was on Dame's mind at that point. All right, you need his respect at that point. I'm going to run through this list of the All NBA teams. I want to see if there's any objections. So let's do first team real quick. Damian Lillard, D Book, Luka, James Harden, TJ Warren. It seems like the tallest person is TJ Warren in this, so it looks like it's small forward guards basically. Are there any objections to this? Do we feel like Giannis should have snuck in? Kawhi?
No.
No, I like it.
Gotcha. All right, that's fair because second team interesting when you have superstars and then a mix of who are these guys again? You have Giannis, Kawhi Leonard, Kristaps Porzingis, Karis LeVert, and Michael Porter Jr. as the second team. How do you feel about this? Karis LeVert.
Okay.
For the record, I do want to say Michael Porter Jr. had an incredible bubble run. I was very impressed. I have always trashed on him and thought he was basically like someone we shouldn't even talk about, waste time on this basketball pod about.
Cool.
He proved me wrong. Per usual, someone proved me wrong. So I got to give it to him. I think he deserves a spot on that list. Karis LeVert, sure. I think he's a great player too, but
interesting. Yeah, I was gonna say interesting. I wasn't expecting him to be in the second team.
Yeah, I mean, I think Karis LeVert like averaged like 28 points a game in this bubble, so
that's not bad. That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, in the loss to Portland, he dropped 37, and he just missed the game winner. If he made that, Portland would have been out.
Oh my gosh. Okay. You know what? Maybe he does deserve it. I was just like, just like came out of nowhere almost. But yeah, that's a great run.
For sure, and I think it's kind of cool because like I never thought that this 8-game opportunity would be a great time for like some of these. Let's be real, these randos come in and just be like, hey, okay, we got to show up here. Because, like, let's be real, that Nets team is – what is that Nets team now? Like, no Dinwiddie, no DJ, no Kevin Durant, no Kyrie Irving. Like, what are we doing
No chance.
No chance. And they still got dubs, which is, like, nuts. Yeah. That's on the back of Karis LeVert. The OG Nets that actually deserve to be on the roster and not the Kyrie Irving, I name 5 players and these guys should stick here and then get my coach fired. But that's a different story. But yeah, I think the bubble teams were just like pretty nuts because I never expected these teams or these players to really just, as soon as the season started, they're just ready to play, like ready to ball out because like the numbers they put up, James Harden too, like it was nuts. But also during this bubble, there are a lot of firing, let's just say. And let's start with Sacramento, okay? Sacramento, Vlade, my boy Divac. No longer my boy Divac. Let's just change that. And my boy Peja, though, always might be my boy. They both stepped down from the front office. They weren't fired, but let's be real. They probably would have been fired because, look, you didn't draft Luka and you messed it up right there. Like, that was it. That was your last call. You didn't get Luka. Like, what's wrong with you at this point?
Yep.
And interim is Joe Dumars. And I don't know if you guys know Joe Dumars. You might know him from The Last Dance when he was with the Pistons. Great player. Horrendous front office because when he was with the Pistons, his best team was the Mouse at the Palace with Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton. That was the last time the Pistons were good. So 2005. And he was recently fired 2 years ago. Horrendous mess. Kevin, what do we think is next for the Sacramento team? Because Buddy Hield on the bench, and you gave him the max contract. The next guy you got to get paid is my boy Bogey Bogdanovic. And how are you going to keep De'Aaron Fox happy? Marvin Bagley's injured. Like, why ruin this kid's potential if you're not going to pick up superstars? Like, Harrison Barnes, look, he's getting way too paid for what he is. Like, he was the sixth best player on that Warriors team that won the first title. Like, what do we think is next? Is it coach firing? Are we shaking up this entire roster? Like, I like the young guys, but clearly Vladi and Page have messed this up.
I don't know. I think this organization has been messed up for so long, and I saw a stat the other day that really hit it home for me of how bad they have been. Luke Walton has the best win-loss ratio of any, or the second best, I think, of any head coach of Sacramento with
Holy
.43.
so
Below 500? Oh.
Below 500, I think the second best of any. Oh, third best. I'm sorry, of any Kings coach, and only one is above 500.
Rick Adelman's my guess. Am I right?
I will just went off the page. Jack McMahon in the 60s.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That's. Oh, wow. Okay. Look, the best thing about the Sacramento Kings.
I'm sorry, I take that back. Rick Oman, I didn't see. He was on the next page. Yeah, he's over 500, and that was it.
Yeah, that's. Look, let's be real though. The greatest thing about the Sacramento Kings is their color scheme: purple, black, gold. Whatever it is. That's the
all
greatest thing
for
about this
it.
roster. All for it. We all about Sacktown over here. Okay, let's be real. Matt, do you think that this roster needs some more veteran presence? I know we got a lot of young guys. I know Marvin Bagley was out for basically the entire season with his injury, but I mean, what are their veterans at this point? Like Corey Joseph, like the guy that was on the Spurs, like the third string point guard. Like, what are we doing here?
So remind me, Sacramento, or they're in California. Am I right? They're in California. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir. They are
Yeah,
in
they're
the
a
city of
California team,
pancakes.
which means that they are essential to basketball if they are in California. They need to either A, get rid of the entire team, B, get rid of 9/10 of the team, and by that I mean keep your only star player, or they need to really, really, really like get lucky with either the off season, with any of the rookies, anything like that. But their team is just so bad. But it really sucks because like you look at the roster and you're like, okay, yeah, like maybe 500, maybe above 500 for sure. I could see that, but like no, like De'Aaron Fox is just like being squandered there. Like it really sucks for him. And if I was him, I would want to get out, or I would like essentially go to the front office and be like, look, we need this guy, or I'm out, because he should not be. I mean, he should be the star of that team. He should like be, I guess, the Luka of that team, if you will, like the person that you keep, the person that you build around. But if they don't do that soon, he's wasted on that team.
No, exactly. And I think not many rookies or like people who are on a rookie contract have like they're typically restricted free agents, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the only person to actually have demanded a trade successfully is your boy Kristaps Porzingis, and this could be the perfect pipeline for him to maybe join the Luka train and see him in Dallas at this point.
That'd be dope. Oh my gosh.
KP, Luka, Darren, just team fast at this point, all right? Which is fast and strong at this point.
I want Team Europe on Dallas.
Team Europe, get that Jokic and Giannis over there.
I would love that. That would blow my mind.
Along the other lines of big shakeups, we're going to direct this one specifically to Postmaster Murphy. Jim Boylan out of here. A lot of rumors were saying that management, who is absolute garbage as we've seen through the Last Dance, and don't want to spend a single dime on anything really. I mean, they let go of Michael Jordan, which is like the dumbest thing in all of history. Jim Boylan, they finally agreed, get him out of here. All right. Initial thoughts, just right from the get go.
I saw a tweet from the very respectable Jonathan Murphy. saying that he had I think it was a full-on erection when he found out that Jim Boylan was fired. If I had to summarize how I felt, I would retweet. I would retweet the shit out of that. Look, it's something that needed to happen a lot sooner. He shouldn't have been the head coach to begin with. We've seen the management and whatnot, like, while they have been terrible, they've made a lot of really great moves in like this offseason for them anyway, the offseason for the Bulls. Last thing they need to do is get rid of Levine, and I'll be happy. And I'll be psyched. That's the last thing they need to do.
No, for sure. I think the entire city of Chicago, this is the greatest highlight so far in the past month.
That's so
sad. Going along these lines, Kevin, we did hear Alvin Gentry, and then you guys seen me posting the messages, fire Gentry, fire Gentry, fire Gentry. They finally heard my call. Coach Gentry out as the head coach for the New Orleans Pelicans. 5 years. He lost AD, and now he lost his job. So with both these coaches, who do you think would be the best coach to fit for these? So we have Ty Lue, Kenny Atkinson, Jason Kidd, even a Mike D'Antoni. So Kevin, we'll start with you. Just for New Orleans, what would be the best fit in terms of coach?
I got it for both. I know what they got to do. It's a win-win. Pelicans, you get Kenny Atkinson. Come on, you got this young team that you need someone to form into this good, mature roster. This all-around team that you have a lot of good people at very specific things. So you have like Zion, who can like destroy the paint every single game. You have JJ Redick, who is your corner 3 guy. You have Brandon Ingram, who is this facilitator, but also shooter, but also kind of everything. And like you just have this weird mishmash of every different type of player on that team. And I think Kenny Atkinson is that perfect coach to be able to coach all of those different play styles. I would love to see him on that team, and I think that would be a great fit. As for the Bulls, come on. Mike D'Antoni, get me that offense, dude. But it sounds dumb at first, but when you look at it, we have so many good shooters on the Bulls that just aren't getting used to their full potential. Levine, Kobe White, Otto Porter Jr., even the team isn't bad shooters, but if they can have D'Antoni's leadership, they can be hopefully actually good offensive team.
Like they should have been.
Yeah, like they should have been. Exactly. But when you have Jim Boylan being like, hey, we're going to have Markkanen take every mid-range shot of all time, these super low percentage shots. Hey, we're going to not run Zach LaVine as the center point of the offense because I don't like him. It just goes to shit. Like
what blows my mind is that like that team has no captain. Essentially, that team has absolutely no captain, and Markkanen should have been. I fully blame Jim Boylan for Markkanen's digression. It is absolutely all of his fault that he did not live up to the potential that he could have been. And he's a really great offensive talent, and he's a really great shooter. But like Zach LaVine had the ball 24/7, and I'm sorry, but when you're watching a Bulls game and your best player LaVine is out, and you're watching like their backups play, and you're having more entertainment from that, it's not great.
No, that's fair. And so, do you agree with Kevin's picks for coaches?
I do. Get Ty Lue the fuck away from me. But yes,
for sure. And I feel like Ty Lue gets a lot of props for not doing much, just because like I'm just saying when you got LeBron, like LeBron's coaching it, like it's just gonna happen like that. And even with Jason Kidd, like don't get me wrong, excellent player like of all time, but coaching, I mean, when the coach says hit me to get a fake timeout, I'm just saying I don't know if I question this guy's methods. And look, he had a good chance with the Bucks, But look, Mike Budenholzer did a phenomenal job and got this Bucks team back-to-back one seeds. Like that's the way to do it. Like that guy knows what he's doing. Sometimes a player coach does not work out well, and sometimes you just need guys that's been in the game, studying the craft. You know, Mike Budenholzer, for example, under Pop for like almost 20 years. You know, um, but I totally agree. I think like Nola needs Kenny Atkinson because he put Brooklyn back on the map for like a popular like New York team. Like he made the Knicks look like trash, like for sure trash now. Like before we used to hate the Nets because it was like Jersey and we don't talk about them, but now we like Brooklyn. Like Brooklyn Nets that just has a good vibe to it. And even
Yeah.
if it's Kyrie and KD, like you traded Kyrie and KD, which is like phenomenal for a team that was like on the brink of being like okay. Like it wasn't even that good of a team. Like it was just okay, but thing Kenny Atkinson did was actually form a good team with a lot of nobodies. He made Spencer Dinwiddie. He made okay. I don't want to say made, but like he brought out the potential out of them at
Yeah.
least. So we'll see. And I guess with another coach possibly in mind, the Brooklyn Nets are chasing Greg Popovich, just because a lot of the former players are on the management team for the Nets, Sean Marks and Jacques Vaughn. You think Pop's leaving San Antonio? You know, is he done with the Spurs? He ended his streak, so he has nothing to hold to now.
I think he's counting down the days to retirement, and has Becky in line to take over the Spurs whenever it may be. And he is just
possibly Becky
has her as his right-hand woman, and is just feeding her all the information to get her ready. And I think he just wants to kind of chill and get out.
Yeah.
He wants to go to the city.
No, for sure. I mean, look, when you've been with the same team for 24 years and even beyond that as a GM, like you ain't moving. All right, the man's like 78. Like he's good. He's good. He's got Tim Duncan. He's got Becky Hammond. You know, he's got his squad. He's building the future for them, and I think he's honestly enjoying with these young guys because he knows Tim Duncan, Manu, and Parker. They never listen to him. So like maybe he's like maybe these young guys will listen to me for once. Like I have some experience now. I've won 5 titles. No biggie. So
it's
we'll
just
see.
Like, what would he get out of it? Like he has multiple championships. He's a 22-year run into the playoffs. What, like, why would he, like, he's probably one of the richest coaches ever. Like there is no reason for him to go to any other team. Yeah. Like his legacy has been solidified. He will. I would be blown away if for whatever reason he ends up like going to Brooklyn or something. It does not seem logical for that to happen.
Look, Pop's getting old, all right? Maybe his vision's getting a little wonky. Black and white's, it's on both sides, all right? I mean, we're black and silver, but Spurs, Brooklyn, same thing at this point, right? Pop ain't leaving, all right? Pop's too old for this. Pop's too old for this. And last thing before we switch to the playoffs, Mamba week next week. Boys, are we copying that black Mamba jersey? Because that looks fire. Oh, my God. That looks sick, okay?
Like, it looks so good, but I'm not going to be able to get
like
it.
$50. I'm not about to be able to pay for that.
That's fair. I'm just saying, if I was to cop any jersey, it's gonna be a Kobe jersey. Like that's my grail jersey. If I'm chasing anything, like I need to get a Kobe jersey.
I would need to refresh the page like every second just so that I can make sure that I solidify a purchase of that Kobe jersey. There's no way I'm going to be able to get that. Absolutely no way.
You're basically going to be fucking hype beast at this point, trying to chase the clout, boys. But I guess with that, let's get on to our next segment. Let's talk about the playoffs, boys.